As the crisis over Ukraine escalates, a nascent anti-war movement is demanding that the United States avoid war with Russia. The movement of U.S. troops into Eastern Europe, supplying weapons and equipment to Ukraine, in presidential language opposing Russian actions have inspired some activists. They argue that the situation today is like that in 2003 when the United States began preparations for war against Iraq. But is the United States preparing for a war? Here are 5 reasons why the situation is different from 2003, and the United States is not getting ready for a war in Ukraine. 1. President Biden has been emphatic that the United States will not send troops into Ukraine or confront the Russians militarily. This is different from the situation in 1991, 2001, and 2003 when the sitting president called for military action. In 1991, for example, then-President George H.W. Bush famously said, "This, Iraqi aggression against Kuwait, will not stand." Similarly, President George W. Bush made explicit statements in 2001 and 2003 that the United States would use military force if adversaries did not change their behavior. That is not the case today. 2. There is no war party in Congress. In 1991, 2001, and 2003 many members of Congress spoke out in favor of military action, and Congress passed legislation authorizing military force. Today it's hard to find a single member who wants a military confrontation with Russia. Statements from members have overwhelmingly opposed such military action, limiting support to reassurance of Eastern European allies and shipment of supplies to Ukraine. 3. No treaty or agreement requires the United States to come to Ukraine's aid. Although the United States had strongly supported Ukrainian sovereignty and independence, the United States has no obligation to go to its defense. Note, if this crisis were happening with the Baltic states, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, the situation would be very different, as these countries are NATO members, and the United States has a treaty obligation to them. 4. There is no UN resolution calling for military action. In 1991, 2001, 2003, and the various military interventions in the Balkans, the United Nations passed resolutions allowing the use of military force. Although such resolutions have only modest influence in U.S. thinking, they are critically important to our allies who regard them as necessary to confer legitimacy on military action. Not only is there no such resolution for defending Ukraine, there is no effort in the UN to establish one. 5. The United States is sending the wrong troops for military intervention.